and he's going to be able to electrocute the hatch.
Yes, he is. We'll have to see if he gets brought out. That's the real question. But Oregon, again, not a whole lot of craziness that you see come out of Oregon. I think usually kind of the most variance is whether or not perhaps the defense will decide to make a stand in 3-story at the very top. Jaeger is definitely the operator to do that with. They'll also bring up Bandit, Pulse, Maestro, Smoke, and they will be going down to the basement for the first defense here on Oregon. For those of you just joining us, welcome. This is CCS Season 4. Make sure you slap that follow button for a lot more great Rainbow Six competitive action, as we'll see the Glaz 6-pick to Nomad, as well as I believe I missed the 6-pick on defense.
6-pick on defense was to Castle. I actually forgot who it was
From
away
Pulse,
from, but
then. Yeah, from
Pulse, yeah. And so I really like that 6th pick strategy out from Sinister, because that Castle, I've been saying this for a while, but Castle is one of the most effective 6th picks in the game. And you know, at the baseline, you might say, oh, well, it's because you have to have like a sledge or a lot of soft breach that aren't shotguns in order to deal with it. And while that's true, the bigger deal is the fact that Castle generally gives away what bomb site you're playing. So if the attackers see that there is a Castle being played, they immediately think, all right, we're going to laundry room. If they don't see a Castle, they're like, there's a good chance this is kids' dorms, but it could still be laundry room. And so there are a bunch of different maps where Castle is really only good on one specific site. So if you show Castle and 6-pick off of it, you can fake the attackers into thinking it's a different site, or vice versa. So I like Castle as a 6-pick, but overall we don't see a Kaid, which isn't too surprising at the end of the day, considering Thatcher's not banned. If Thatcher was banned, Kaid would be a must-pick.
And Rudy will open things up with a kill onto Lags. So that is already the buck and a huge amount of utility off the board as far as opening softwall. Not as important necessarily on this site in particular, but you still don't want to lose. I mean, look at that rear stage wall, completely soft. No way to open it up. Iconic, though, he'll refrag on his Sippin, the primary fragger for Sinister Academy. So that will be the Bandit off the board as well. Smurfin will find one on Alpaca, so it's back and forth we go. BitterSweet down 2 without deploying any utility by both of them. Iconic with his second of the round, though, will find Smurfin for the refrag. So your Bandit Jaeger gone. Still, Sinister Academy will be considered in the lead at this point, just because the utility for Sinister having already been deployed, whereas BitterSweet will lose a lot of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of utility down on either side, and so far, the attackers have a decent amount of control. They've controlled pretty much everything but downstairs. They have Meeting Hall on lockdown, and now Hibana is starting to use those X-Kairos nodes to open up a couple of more angles. So at this point, Sinister, they're content to sit back on site. They have both Maestro and Smoke, who are both huge when it comes to late round plays. And so they'll be able to deny a lot of space and properly deny plants as well with those sets of utility. We'll see what they decide to do. As BitterSweet, they've slowed down a little bit. They do have enough time to work with, and it seems like they aren't really going to focus much on trying to get the default plant in laundry down. Looks like they're going to focus more around construction instead.
Yeah, a little bit of a late rotate. Again, a lot of that utility was lost at the side of BitterSweet. So they're going to have to make up for it by getting some frags here in the closing seconds of the round. And they will pitch down onto it. It looks like Sinister is completely aware that they have focused fully on the back. A rotate by one of those three would be very devastating. Melted, though, he'll find Rudy's head laying in behind that bomb. He'll peek. He'll find another one on the Aviation. So a 3v1 just like that. Melted doing work with the Nomad. While I expect the diffuser to go down, he'll actually 3K it to end it out. And BitterSweet will take the round on frags alone in the closing half minute of round 1.
Very good plays by BitterSweet overall, and I really like how they started the round too. They started by clearing out tower. They cleared out the rotations around tower, especially the third floor of tower, which we know a lot of teams struggle with. And they took Meeting Hall control within the first minute and a half of the round. So BitterSweet, they know how to attack the basement side of Oregon, and that's something that I definitely like to see from them. Meanwhile, over on the side of Sinister, they started off all right. They got a couple of refrags, but when it came down to the last few seconds, Melted just tore through them with Nomad, and they just weren't able to refrag because they didn't have enough forward position. I think they were playing too far into the laundry site, and when Hibana opens up one of the hatches and then opens up a two X-Kairos set pellets, thick section of wall, then you know she doesn't have any utility left, and the front entrance hatch is still reinforced. That's when you have to rotate back. You can't continue to watch stairs. You have a very good sort of idea that the attackers are going to start pushing toward the construction side, and I don't think Sinister made that rotation fast enough.
Nope. So here we go. A lot of utility deployed into Meeting Hall just to delay any rotations like they did last time. I'll see Sippin all the way up in the attic. The only change on the defensive side is we saw that Bandit of Sippin 6-pick over to Kaid. So we'll have that Electro Claw to stop the push from the attic. And it looks like they being the attackers, might come that direction, as we'll see them rappelling up onto the big tower. The other side of attic will not get opened up, so Iconic will push up against the attic, see that it is reinforced. He'll open that window up. Some drones will go out to see if they can get a pick onto attic through the window. They will see that the Kaid is back in there. Sippin will get that drone kicked out, and it looks like they're deploying a little bit of hard breach on the back of that attic wall as we speak. They are spreading out, though, as well, so I'm not sure if they believe that it would be worth it to spend their 3 Hibana pellets, but here she is, and she will open up a crawl hole towards the bottom just to get in there and at least perhaps drive somebody out. It won't matter much, though. Sippin on OJ's dropped back into Meeting Hall, again, where a lot of utility is deployed, but giving up that attic when you have all of that deployed there is a, you know, good first step for the attacking team. The other side of attic will get opened up too by the Zofia, and Alpaca will find what they were been after with all of that utility. That will be Sippin on OJ going down here in the first half of this round.
That is a lot of utility on the attic, but overall, it's still a very strong use of the utility, and I don't think they're going to miss it much either, considering how important Meeting Hall is now. As Smurfin gets 1 pick, we're down to a 4v4, but traded out by Iconic, who gets the down and eventually pushes up to secure the kill. Now we are down to a 3v4. Once again, BitterSweet are in a pretty good position. They have full control over Meeting Hall. 1 minute left on the timer, and they do still have enough X-Kairos pellets to get through construction. So overall, BitterSweet doing a very similar attack to what they did the first time, and Sinister so far hasn't really been able to adapt well enough. We'll see if BitterSweet can get the same frag as they did last time, especially when we watch Melted.
Yeah, so a lot of pressure being put on the backside. They know this. They see Hands. Actually, Hands will get shot as the Nomad... Actually, it looked like blood came out when she was swinging at the barbed wire, but I guess not. And Brady will find one onto Aviation. So 4v2, make that a 4v1. Only the smoke remains. They will push right through that toxic smoke. He'll see one. Alpaca will get the closing kill down onto Anthony. And 2 quick ones here for BitterSweet as they mowed down all the defense, turtling on site, and get the first 2 rounds here on Oregon.
I'm actually really surprised that nobody from Sinister has been rotating up through Laundry Room. With the amount of emphasis that BitterSweet have been putting on pushing toward the construction side and near the bottom floor of Tower and through those stairs, as soon as BitterSweet get control of Meeting Hall and start their offensive, Sinister can actually send 1 person, since there is nobody from BitterSweet watching Laundry side or the front entrance. Sinister can send 1 person up to flank with a late roam and hopefully get 1, maybe 2 picks, maybe even more, depending on whether or not BitterSweet can actually react in time. And so I'm surprised they're not doing that. Most of that's probably because so far BitterSweet, they've been playing the basement attack in a little bit of an unorthodox way. Most of the time, we either see teams take control of Meeting Hall and go for a main entrance push with the hatch, or we see them go through construction, focus on construction first, and back toward the tower stairs. We don't normally see a team clear meeting hall and then go through the tower stairs. So that could be one thing that's catching Sinister a little bit off guard there, but BitterSweet so far have been showing up on all cylinders with 2 rounds under their belts already.
Yeah, so an interesting idea to actually reinforce the wall. They will destroy that white cabinet, but they'll reinforce the rotate into the small dorm from the main dorm's hall, and they'll instead put a Maestro cam up there, so the evil eye to keep an eye on things. But they will open up that white cabinet. They'll blow it up, but that is a barred wall, so you cannot rotate through it. So there will be no moving in and out of that position by the defense from the safety of the wall where the top of white stairs is. So a little bit of a peek out that master bedroom door. We'll see nobody on rotate towards the building, as it seems that a lot of them spawned construction in this case. And a lot of presence now being taken up in Armory by BitterSweet on this attack.
So BitterSweet, I like what they're doing on attack so far. They're clearing out tower. They cleared it out pretty quickly. I don't think anyone from Sinister was playing there, but just the peace of mind that you know that tower is clear means that you can repel off of these windows that Aviation was trying to hold and Iconic is playing right now. You get a lot of control from playing these windows, and you can only play these windows if you're certain that tower is clear. Otherwise, someone from tower can get a couple of easy picks, and the way these zip lines are, or the way these rappels are oriented, means that you, for the most part, can't actually turn your camera enough to watch tower yourself. So you absolutely need someone else to watch it. Now, I like that BitterSweet has put so much emphasis on it, and that's actually one of the main criticisms I place on some of the teams that we've seen so far when it comes to playing this site, is that they don't play these windows outside of kids' dorms.
Yeah, so far, Sinister not doing well. Doc will get shot down to about 15 health. He'll heal himself up. Smurf get kill number 1 on a Melted, but Lagged and Iconic will team up to get 2 on Sinister. That's the smoke gone too, so a lot of utility off the board. Aviation will have to scramble out of that position as the shots come in through the window. Smurfin will actually find Iconic downstairs. Iconic been doing a lot of work here for BitterSweet so far. So 3-3, a lot of damage on the side of Sinister Academy. Lags will find 1. Aviation will refrag right back until Alpaca, so that'll be 2-2. 2 ACOGs left here on Sinister Academy. A lot of angles being held now. Aviation holding 1 onto that main window. The Doc will shoot a heal over and connect. So Aviation will get a little bit of that precious life back. You got the Sledge and the Habana. Only 25 seconds. They're going to have to move, so they're going to move now. Into the main window. The plant goes down. Lags will take a little bit of damage, but he's able to stave off the attack, but not for long. Rudy will find 1 and an easy cleanup onto the planter. He'll jump out of the window, get air jab, but that's fine. They won the round, and that will be the first one here for Sinister.
That was a very... so that round started out really well for BitterSweet. But at the end, first of all, they gave up their positions on that rappel that I keep talking about is a really important rappel. Because especially if you're, honestly, if you're going for either site take, that rappel cuts off the rotation between the sites. You can see down the hallway that leads to the white stairs, and that's huge. That's a huge position. So BitterSweet gave that up, not exactly sure why. And when it came down to the plant situation, 2v2, they had a very, very shallow Nomad. The Nomad air jab could have been fired farther into sight. And if it had, then Lags wouldn't have had to watch the window at such an aggressive angle. Because anyone who tried to push up to stop the plant would have gotten air jabbed, and then you can peek out and kill them. But as it stood, Lags was holding a very strange angle, one where he could be fired at from both positions of the defenders of Sinister, and he just got taken out because of it. So I think BitterSweet had a couple of things that they definitely needed to improve on that sort of attack, but they started it off pretty well.
Yes, they did, but Sinister will finally stop the bleeding. You know, losing 2, no big deal. Losing 3, that starts to become a pretty big deal. But Sinister, a very good job winning it out. They were actually down quite a bit of health with an even numbers at some point, but they were able to hold it out with those 2 anchors there on the site. Rudy will run out and place a camera, a very risky move, but he will get back in, I believe, right as he begins to get detected. He'll need to kind of get out of there. He'll stay to board the window back up, But thankfully, nobody will peek underneath that little crack in the door. Iconic will find that black eye camera right away, though, so not a lot of intel for the risk of being outside for so long. And oh no, if Doc would have just hit that door, or that window rather, a little bit lower, he might have seen Iconic standing there at the base of the small tower. But they're zipping up. He's holding an angle there. They see the window. Oh, what a shot by Iconic as he hits the head of Sippin. Great map awareness to see that open window, and a great accurate shot to connect. So that will be the Doc. Gone for Sinister in the first 30 seconds. Not where you want to be if you're Sinister Academy.
Definitely not. And that's not really the kind of spawn peak that you want to lose, too. And it was... At the very beginning, as soon as people are running, maybe that one works. But as soon as they see the fact that that window has been broken open, you have to think that someone's watching it, especially if they're going for that rappel on tower. And Melted will be able to take out Rudy, leaving it down to a 5v3, and BitterSweet are starting to figure things out once again after they lost that last round on Sinister. And so it seems like Smurfin is trying to go for a little bit of a late roam, deep roam, see if he can catch anyone off guard. But as we are playing the downstairs bomb site, we will see a couple of people try to pinch on him, but they seem to have given up already, which is a little bit interesting. I think they're just going to bet that they can flank watch more than anything else.
Yep. So BitterSweet taking their time. A lot of air jabs have been deployed to cover any flanks. They're just working their way towards the site, being extremely thorough. And why wouldn't you be? You got those picks so early on that you've got all the time in the world to make your way down the site. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're doing a meticulous job of watching all the flanks. They know that they have somebody to deal with upstairs. They're not sure exactly where. Smurfin just working those hatches. He'll shoot down through the hatch, and he will tag up the sledge. Do a lot of damage. Smurfin will find one onto Iconic, so that will be one down, but the trade will come right back. Melted, and unfortunately, they'll also lose their presence upstairs. The fire bolt will go off, but not quite connect with aviation. He's looking through this little pixel angle. Oh, but Melton will fire right back through it. And with the 2K, will end the round just like that. Melton having a fantastic game here on Oregon versus Sinister Academy. BitterSweet now up 3-1.
3-1 it is, and so far BitterSweet have pretty much surprised us. You know, we didn't really see much of them in the we didn't see any of them in the qualifiers, and at this point they're looking at a very strong team. We talked about earlier that Sinister was a team that has been here for quite a while. They played in every season of CCS, even though there have been some roster changes, of course. And so far in this current season, they did take a map off of Reciprocity, and now BitterSweet are off to a very good start against them. It is Oregon, so the strats are pretty standard here, but even still, BitterSweet have been basically playing these rounds in a way that's a little bit unorthodox, but still by the book, if you know what I mean. It's a different way to attack, but they're covering all their angles, and they're doing all the right things for their attacks.
I know what you mean.
With the exception of the Kids Dorms one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know what you mean exactly. Sinister Academy going to have to find a formula that works here, because right now BitterSweet is just gunning hard. And they're winning those gunfights, and there's not enough refrags. And then we've seen twice now where one member of BitterSweet just runs in and cleans up the rest of the defenders. You cannot get into a situation like that where you can let somebody kind of run in and go wild. Because when you do that, if everybody's watching their own angle, and also that shot through that gap in the shield was just unbelievable. But when somebody dies and everybody's holding a different angle, it allows somebody to really go in and cause havoc like that, right? Because they've gone through somebody watching that angle, and now they can come to the sides of and behind the other defenders that are watching their own angles. That recovery hasn't had a chance to take place, right? Where they know now that that certain angle is called angle X, which, you know, could be whatever angle that the person who just died was covering. That just gives them the ability to just keep on sprinting and just gun before the defense has a chance to know it. And that's happened to Sinister twice, both on basement. when there was a very similar numbers going on both sides of the team in the closing seconds of the round. So here we go, round 5, a minute to go. And I love the patience out of BitterSweet. They're aggressive when they need to be aggressive. And look at this. They have full front lobby presence. They actually changed it up. They didn't get met with any resistance at all upstairs in Meeting Hall. They're droning everything out, but they'll probably realize very soon that it is indeed a full turtle downstairs. And even the hatches in Meeting Hall are completely sealed up. So once the rest of the building is cleared, they can get to work deploying some utility down the main stairs. Now, Smurfing, I'm not... Oh! Hello! Upstairs all the way at the top of Tall Tower. We'll find one. As a matter of fact, it looked like a rotate, late rotate up the back side. So now we got 2 sipping on OJ and Attic. He'll find one on a Melted now. The hero of last round for BitterSweet. So now it's looking really, really good for Sinister Academy, as it looks like the rest of BitterSweet opt to go down and attempt to work it at the bottom of main stairs, but Iconic with that glass will find one all the way over in Attic. So that's one of the flankers down. Not sure where the other one has went, but with the numbers advantage, it's trying to start playing it maybe a little bit slower for the defense. Still a minute left to go.
A minute left and a decent amount of utility left for the attackers. They should still have the smoke grenades from Iconic. Seems like one is going out, but there are Maestro Evil Eyes set around the site, so they can't quite push in yet, and for the most part, one of the smoke grenades is a little bit wasted, especially with a counter smoke. But actually, Iconic is going to rush straight through. Anthony guns him down. PMM is not enough to take him down, and that means that Sinister are in a very good spot, but Brady does get one refrag. Aviation manages to take out Lags. Rudy goes down too, and Smurfin with the last kill. Sinister managed to stifle the bleeding and get themselves on the board during the laundry room take, and that means that they can go right back up to kids' dorms. Iconic
has been doing so much work this entire time. Just getting kill after kill without being refragged himself. Look at that, 6 and 3, 5 rounds deep, sitting almost atop the leaderboard as far as kills are concerned for his team, but that play was horrible. Okay, your glass, you can see through smoke. There's smoke everywhere. Why are you pushing through with the pistol? Why? That could have that was probably the largest contributing factor to losing that round, other than maybe the lost gunfights over towards, you know, 3-story and Meeting Hall. There was absolutely no need to do that with a pistol, no less. He should have held that angle, waited for the peek to come out, because there was more smokes to be thrown by the defense. And he could have had an easy pick. I mean, when somebody peeks the corner in your glass, you can see through smoke. You're ADS'd through a scope, so you're zoomed in, so your shots are more accurate. Your gun does tons of damage. You're probably going to see his head. And meanwhile, the defense has a smoke canister in his hand, something that doesn't shoot back at you, right? Even if he throws a smoke canister and the smoke canister taps you in the head, you're not going to die. You need to be holding that angle. You need to be protecting the plant, getting that plant down if you can. Even with the smoke down and the toxic smoke, in that position where you cannot plant next to the machine, you need to probably either try and maybe plant by laundry basket or try to plant at the bottom of the stairs. Either way, a little bit of impatience on Iconic's part. And now Sinister's 3-2, whereas it could have possibly been BitterSweet 4-1.
Yeah, and 4-1 is a super different scoreline than 3-2. And definitely that play was a very strange one, especially since if they really wanted to make that play and force someone into the closet and flush people out from there, it should have been anyone other than the Glass, basically. Because, you know, he's just got the PMM, and while it is a strong pistol, when you rank it among other pistols, it is still, at the end of the day, a pistol. And anyone with any sort of machine gun would have fared better. But talking about what happened toward the beginning of that sort of round, was that BitterSweet, they made a switch. They decided not to go for a just straight up classic, their classic take control of tower and get the frags from there. Alpaca gets the first headshot of this round. But one thing that BitterSweet failed to do that time around, was they failed to flush anyone out of tower. And so 2 people rotated through it and just got pretty much free frags. And that's not what you want to see when you're BitterSweet. So they changed it up, and the change was honestly for the worse. Even if it had caught Sinister off guard a little bit, they just still didn't hold the proper angles that they needed to, and they didn't cut off the rotations up the stairs. And that's so important, especially when you're going for a main lobby take. focusing our sights onto the current round, however, Brady's actually being very aggressive with these flashbang grenades. He's able to get them off, but he definitely could have lost his head in the process had he peeked around just a little bit too far. Smoke grenades go out. There is a Maestro, so Cam should be able to do something about that, actually. Anthony peeks around the corner. Rudy gets the frag, however. Alpaca killing Sippin on OJ, so we're down to a 4v3, but still a lot of plant denial on the side of Sinister, and the Maestro is still alive if they need that in the very end. Remember, this is the last round of the half as well, so BitterSweet really want to give themselves a 4-2 lead instead of letting Sinister tie it up 3-3. 1 minute left on the clock. Iconic gets a headshot on Rudy. 4v2. It's looking better for BitterSweet now as they surround the site from all angles. One person left alive. Aviation needs to clutch this out. He takes out one, peeks around the corner, goes for a second, does not get it though as Lags takes out Aviation, ending that kill spree. And now we start to switch sides, and BitterSweet looking pretty good, sitting 4-2 on the defensive half. Now, of course, we do have to talk about the fact that Oregon is pretty defensive-sided, at least for the first two sites. When you're forced to switch to either the rear stage and tower or the kitchen site, then things get a little bit more attacker-sided. But for the most part, defense can win out more times than not. So it is a defensive-sided map, and that means that BitterSweet gets an advantage heading into the second half when they already have a 4-2 lead. And
it could have been a 5-1.
It could have.
It could have been a 5-1 if Iconic wasn't so greedy with that pistol. Calm down.
If they even, I mentioned it earlier, but if they wanted to make that play so badly, and again, like maybe the play would have worked out. It should have been someone other than Glaz, though, someone with a machine gun.
Right. That's why I said with the pistol. It was just greedy. It was just Iconic that was greedy. Y'all end up losing this. That was it. That was the play. I'm just kidding. I'm giving them a hard time. But their BitterSweet are up 4-2 in a comfortable position, like you said, at the half, going into round number 7 and melted. We've seen him make play after play. We've seen him go in and dismantle the remaining defenders of Sinister Academy 2 times in the first 6 rounds. But now it will be Sinister's attempt to go ahead and attack. And it looks like the old kitchen defense coming out. I like this. I'm not sure if this is due to research, but we used to see this a lot. The main attack would be to take kitchen and just blow open the ceiling as much as possible. Try to drive people out of kid stores so you can get people to rappel from the window down onto that site. Looks like I'm having a little bit of a feed issue here.
It is on my end, unfortunately, as well. But talking about that kitchen sort of hold a little bit more. Again, the bomb site isn't at kitchen, but holding kitchen is very strong because you can shoot up through the floors and you can basically put a lot of pressure on the attackers from multiple different angles. You can force them not to be able to sit where they want, and you can cut off the rotation between sites as well. So right outside of kitchen in front of the white stairs is a good position to basically kill anyone who's going through a rotation hole between the B and A sites, between the 2 dorms.
Right.
And so that is a potentially very strong position as well. So overall, I do like that sort of defensive play, and we'll see how Sinister try to react to it.
So we got our feedback, and no action missed. A minute down, a little bit of intel gathered. Master bedroom control, and the wall will begin to get opened up. Lags will push real close with the shotgun. He'll pull out the bar where I think that was a mistake. But he won't pay for it. Aviation will just dodge a bullet and somehow hop through that hole. No problem. He'll deploy all of his Hibana charges. They know somebody's in kitchen, so he'll open that closet up and watch the rotate, see if he can locate anything, as he is no longer needed, at least for utility. Iconic will open things up with a kill onto Sippin, so that will be Buck gone and all of that utility, and that's, you know, with that, Buck has the potential, of course, to open up the floor underneath, somebody guarding the top of white stairs. He's got the ability to open up the entirety of the kitchen ceiling, but you got the Pulse in kitchen just kind of hanging out, not being too aggressive, and that has stopped any type of roam hunt or control push from the attackers down onto that. It will force them all back upstairs, so they're all crammed into the hallway by master bedroom, And Aviation will actually see one at the bottom of main stairs. He's like, oh, free kill. He's going to run downstairs, see if he can find anything. Iconic, though, he'll pull back deeper into basement. But he will return. He will go back up to main stairs. They know he's there, but there's not a lot of time left to work with. So the attackers will decide to rotate right back up to the top. Now, Rudy will find one, though, onto Brady. Smurfing back up and down those stairs. They know somebody's below them, but they don't know quite how to deal with them. Iconic, in the meantime, will just run the other direction. Some utility being deployed left and right. Smokes will go out. Alpaca will find Smurfing. So the Thatcher is down as well. The 3 remain. Pulse still situated firmly underneath. He will be pulsing. C4 ready to go. Rudy, though, he'll find one on the lags. The plant will begin to go down. I'm not sure if the Pulse will be able to see that from where he's located. C4 will go out, will not connect. Anthony will find one jumping through the window. So a 2v3 and now a complete flip as the diffuser is planted. C4 will go up. Will it find it? Yes, it will. Anthony will get taken out by Alpaca. 2-2, both on white stairs. A very tight angle being held from behind the bomb. The standard position. He'll miss the shots, but still pin both remaining defenders down. Half the diffuser time is gone. They're going to have to make a push sooner rather than later. He will rotate off that strong bomb site. Will rotate back. He'll find one. He'll get the shots out, and Rudy will find 2 with the Zofia. Fantastic job by Sinister to recover. It was looking a little grim for them with all the fluidity of the defense, all the map control of the defense, but they somehow won their gunfights up top and were able to get the diffuser down, force a retake situation. Sinister will bring one back 4-3 now.
I really want to know what happened with Alpaca during that round, because he's playing the Pulse. He can deny plants from the floor beneath, especially with the way Sinister was attacking. Because Sinister, they decided to go for the default plant, which is right in front of the reinforced wall leading to closet from one of the dorm rooms. And that's a really good spot for a Pulse to toss a C4 up. But he backed off of that angle for some reason. I think maybe he felt some pressure, but then I have to wonder, where was the pressure that he felt? Because we saw that Sinister, none of them, they sent a Hibana down and they opened up a couple walls, but then they backed off. Sinister didn't just stopped roam clearing at that point. So Alpaca didn't really need to get forced off of his position, yet he still rotated away and he wasn't able to deny the plant from his team. He still got 1 kill toward the end, but imagine if he would have gotten the diffuser kill. Then it would have been a very different round. So I think that was one of the biggest factors as to why BitterSweet lost that round.
Yes, indeed. So round 8, 4-3. The lead for BitterSweet has been cut a little bit. They still have the lead, though. Still a lot of action left to be played. 3 rounds minimum, even if BitterSweet manages to win all of them. So we've seen a lot of back and forth here today, both in the last game and in this one so far. Last game, of course, map number 1 went the complete distance as far as it could possibly go. 15 rounds to be exact. And now, then the map afterwards went as far as it could possibly go without going to overtime. 7-5. Here we are, 4-3. And Sinister will have, I believe, their second attempt now. No, this will be their first attempt down on attacking basement. No, this will be their second. Oh, no, it will be the first, right? I'm flip-flopping here. Yeah, they took kids up top first.
Yeah, kids.
That's okay. Shake it off. I need some more Red Bull. That's what's going on.
I'm just, like, powering through with just water alone. I'm not a very good gamer in that respect.
You
I think
poor
I need
guy.
to drink more energy drinks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I think that's
need to
why
get
my aim is off.
just shy of a heart attack, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, and then I'll be able to frag out, finally.
I don't know about all that.
But going back toward this defense, we see a pretty strong meeting room hold for BitterSweet, and that's one of the more common strategies that we see when defending the downstairs site in Laundry. Looking at Sinister, seems like they have opened up a couple of walls in construction, but they do have a decent amount of teammates over here toward the main hatch. And we're going to fight over this doorway as Capitao goes to smoke it off. Iconic, not quite able to get the shots, but so many angles being held here as everyone is just trying to challenge each other and deny this sort of plant scenario.
Yeah, Rudy will get tagged down a little bit, and then a little bit more through the soft wall, about half health, a little more, actually. 60. Oh, Iconic will finally finish him off after a gun battle left and right. Alpaca will get tagged down, though. They know somebody's at the top. He'll pokeball. And that'll get Anthony. So Capital and Zofia, a lot of utility gone. Sippin will refrag finally onto Brady. and they will lose the Maestro. So a lot of utility loss. Sippin will find one on Iconic, as will Smurf, and Lags will refrag 2v2 just like that, and a flurry of kills. 45 seconds left. Sippin on OJ will hip fire somebody down. That SMG-11 just sending bullets like nobody's business. The fire rate is extreme. He'll peek around the corner. He'll find another Lags on his Smurf, and SMG-11 kills left and right. We'll have actually the attacker, the only remaining attacker on site, both defenders off site, but they have control of the diffuser there on main stairs. The shotgun will come out. It is just Lags versus Sledge now. Both very weak. Both one shot. Can the shotgun find the Sledge? Oh, a shot will come out. The Sledge will know exactly where he is, but he is running out of time. He's not going to have enough time to grab the diffuser. He's going to have to go for the kill. Peek around the corner. Stepping on OJ. Will clutch it out in the 1v2 and win another round for Sinister Academy. That will tie things up here for the first time.
And it will bring us to a tie after BitterSweet looked very strong on their attack, but interestingly enough, despite the fact that Oregon is very friendly to defenders on the first two sites, Sinister able to win their attacks too. So it's an attacker-sided map in terms of this series, but looking toward what happened that round, I think a lot of it came down to the fact that BitterSweet went for a little bit too many challenges. I think they broke open the meeting room castle barricade a little bit too early, and they didn't even play the castle barricade as soon as he opened it. He tossed an impact and backed off. I mean, when usually you would want to use that as part of the element of surprise, basically, and peek out the instant the impact grenade hits the castle barricade. And so I think that was a slight mistake as well. So a couple of minor adjustments for the side of BitterSweet, but they're definitely not out of it yet, as Sinister still need to win a couple more rounds in order to bring the first map into their favor. But this is looking a little bit more like a scoreline we expected, rather than the 4-2 for Sinister at the start.
Yes, so here we go, 4-4, all tied up. Sinister doing a great job bringing it back after being down 2 rounds, 4-2 at the break. They have yet to lose an attack so far. And not with lack of trying on the hands of BitterSweet. They were up 2-1 at the end of that last round, but Sippin on OJ, the fragger for Sinister Academy, will bring it and win it back for Sinister Academy. So here we go. Some pre-fire shots go through the front door. They will not find anybody as the drone comes out. We see Iconic over here on 3-story, popping some holes in the attic, getting himself an escape route should he need it. I'm not sure if he's going to climb all the way to the top. We also have somebody at the top of main stairs, prone, ready to go, but he will decide to rotate back down, as it is not worth losing your life. It's nice to waste a little bit of time, but not be in too risky of a spot. So they'll go back down. Lags will open that wall up, prep to throw smokes when and if he is needed. When that push comes down main stairs, if it does, if they don't decide to rotate around the back. Meanwhile, not a whole lot going on. The main hatch will get opened up. Full meeting control, though, for the defense, as kitchen control now in the hands of the attackers, but they're not making much progress onto the map. They're spreading out. They're trying to see if they can find any picks, find any way to, I don't know, they're pretty spread out right now. One down in basement in blue. A couple wrapping around to the backside of 3-story. We've got some poking in main hall. Very, very spread push here for Sinister.
That was a good throw by Rudy. He just lands the grenade all the way up toward the 3rd floor, and he's going to be able to scout out any defenders playing over here in tower. They know he's here. There are 4 people surrounding tower at the moment. Some of them on the ground floor, but we'll see if any kills come from NS Smurfin holding an angle rather than anything else. And it looks like Iconic is just allowed to rotate out. So Iconic honestly just did his job right there. He stayed in tower for a little bit. As soon as he got pressured, he rotated out, and he bought a lot of time. Right now, we're already almost 2 minutes into the round, and Sinister have just now cleared attic. They haven't even moved on to meeting hall yet, where Alpaca and Iconic are just waiting for them. And speaking of, Alpaca gets the first headshot, and that is Aviation going down immediately. 1 minute left on the clock. Rudy does get the refrag onto Alpaca, but again, 1 minute, and there's still not a lot of map control for Sinister.
No, not a lot of map control at all. The castle will go down, but the Habana, the hard breach will go down. Only the main hatch, I believe, getting open. With all that meeting presence, I believe the other 2 hatches are open as well. So yeah, time ticking away. First smoke will come out. He'll have enough time. As Iconic will get a kill onto Rudy, he'll have enough time to basically smoke out for the rest of the round almost. If he spaces them out. Lags with a very aggressive peek. He'll find with a single tap the header sipping on OJ. The rest of the attacking squad will push down main stairs. Bethel will find one. One will drop the hatch. He'll find one, but he's got a lot more to find. He'll find two, actually. But Iconic will finally shut him down. Smurfing, a valiant effort there at the end, but BitterSweet will take one back after losing two to Sinister and take the lead once again.
They will take the lead back into their hands, and BitterSweet, that was looking like a better defense for them. They didn't it was sort of weird that round they lost. They sort of over-aggressed in terms of peeking things they shouldn't have, but they still, like, when they broke open that castle barricade, they didn't peek immediately. And so less oddities here this round for BitterSweet. And again, I want to shout out Iconic for playing the way he did. He played smart, and he played the way that you just want to play tower. As soon as people start pressuring you on tower, if you can get out with your life, that's perfect. Because you have wasted so much attacker time trying to get you out of tower, and we saw that forced Sinister's hand, and Sinister they had to rush for the last moments of that round because there just wasn't enough time left for them to both take control of Meeting Hall and go down to the basement for the site take. So very good play by Iconic there, and I almost just want to say that wins them the round. Again, you don't have to be a fragger. You don't have to get a 5K in order to win your team in the round. Just play it like that where you
it helps
smart.
though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. If you do get a 5K, you have won the round. Like, there is no denying that.
It's like that scene in Happy Gilmore where he hits the hole in one. He's like, "Oh, I should just do that every time." Yeah, just get the 5K every time. You'll be fine. So, anyways, here we go. Round 10. BitterSweet taking the first lead of the game. Sorry about that. I'm just getting a little bit of feedback. We're having a little bit of weirdness going on, which, as you could probably hear with Discord, but that's okay.
Sinister decided to do. We're on their side.
We're attempting to get everything fixed. You can see there's a little bit of issues right there, but that's okay because we're getting started into this round. We haven't missed much action, I don't think.
Yeah, we didn't really miss much action whatsoever as the round has just started, and a Blackbeard is on the board for the side of Sinister. And the fact that BitterSweet just won the basement defense, it's pretty obvious that you take a Blackbeard here, right? I don't think Sinister is, or I don't think BitterSweet is a sort of team that is willing to go as crazy as second holding a tower or kitchen site. So they will head right up to kids' dorms, which is Blackbeard's specialty if he plays the windows. He is not playing the windows, so I'm not sure why Blackbeard is roam clearing right now.
I couldn't tell you, but he's now just holding an angle, which is Blackbeard's forte. Window, doorway, hallway, wherever he is, holding an angle is what he has to do. So now Melton will have to rotate back out as the kitchen closet wall, the pantry wall gets opened up. Blackbeard will take a couple of shots, but miss. And two of them driven all the way back towards small tower. Blackbeard will rotate back upstairs. You'll see the bulletproof cam at the end of the hallway. They can get that intel and report back should he decide to push any further and expose himself. However, a drone will come up white stairs and see one as well. Oh, and a little bit of an issue there by the smoke to finish that drone off. The closet will get open. There's a shotgun close. He'll get droned out, though. He'll shoot the shotgun and rotate back out. So many people at the top of white stairs. Somebody could get up underneath there and maybe open the floor up. Hint, hint, Buck. Man, they could do a lot of damage. But that will not be done. There's still a minute left to go. It's just kind of a standoff here as so many of the defense crammed over on that side. Iconic will get opening kill on the Smurfing, so the Thatcher is gone all the way from small tower. I'm not sure where that Thatcher was, but a great shot by Iconic nonetheless to get the opening kill as time ticks away here at Sinister.
Seeing as he was in the small tower, it was probably someone playing outside of the main window, outside of the kids' dorms. And it seems like, oh, Lags gets the first shot with shotgun, and that is enough to kill. Seeing as the SAS shotgun is incredibly powerful and Iconic gets a second one, Anthony goes down 5v2. And now, the fact that Rudy did not play with window pressure, he does still get one kill, however, and Sippin opens up that floorboard that Ty was talking about at the top of the stairs. Very strong angle for the defenders to play, but still a mountain to climb as there's only 10 seconds left, and Sippin goes down. It's a 1v3 at this point, and he's Blackbeard. He's going to get peeked right around the corner as Brady takes him out, and that means that BitterSweet go up yet another round. And again, I mentioned this back when BitterSweet were attacking, but the kids' dorms windows are really important to repel on, because if you have, say, a Blackbeard playing on those windows, that holds the top of White Stairs. That alone can hold the top of White Stairs if you have someone playing that angle. And so you can flush out the defenders, you can deny the rotations, and it just works. So I always harp on teams that don't go for that sort of control, that don't clear out tower and don't play the kids' dorms windows, especially when you have a Blackbeard, and I think that's one of the main reasons.
Well, you saw that the first and only kills that Sinister Academy managed to muster there in the closing seconds were when they went around and they drove people out of White Stairs, right? But when you start driving people out of White Stairs, if you don't have anybody over by Closet or by Master or in the hallway like the Blackbeard was originally to put, because what's going to happen is when you open that up, you saw how stacked BitterSweet was. It's going to force him to rotate somewhere else. Otherwise, it's easy pickets for whoever's underneath. That's a hard shot to hit straight down, where it's a lot easier to hit going up. So they did it, but it was not in a unison where your teammates were in a position to get people that are rotating out of danger's way, where really they're actually rotating into another danger, which is your teammate holding an angle from another secured position. So unfortunately, a little too late for that strategy to come out, and that's why in particular situations like that, opening up kitchen, you know, going into kitchen, going into that hallway at the bottom of White Stairs, and opening up the ceiling, which all of that is destructible, is kind of the play to make, and that would have really punished them. So, you know, in these cases, if both of these teams have a lot of underage players on them, really up to your IGL to make that call and reroute you. Unfortunately, though, that did happen for Sinister, but again, unfortunately, just a little bit too late. So here we go, match point, or I should say map point for BitterSweet, as there will definitely be another map coming right after this.
Yep, and that next map will be Consulate, which is Sinister's pick. So it is worth reiterating that Oregon right now is BitterSweet's pick, and they are winning the map. So potentially Sinister could come back on map 2, given the fact that it's their map. This is actually a sort of a different castle strategy than we've seen. Most people don't decide to block out the staircase here. And we will see BitterSweet try to run with that strategy instead. I'm not sure how well it would work out, because as soon as you have control over the main entrance hatch, then you pretty much have enough control to melee through that castle barricade, so it doesn't really give you too much in the end. Oh, Alka just barely missing the heads as Anthony kills him instead. Aviation somehow gets away with his life, but there are still more people to play with on the... Actually, this is a rear stage defense. I did not see that at the beginning, but this is a pretty strong hold so far. But as I say that, grenades come out. They're taken down by ADS as Aviation pushes in, unable to get a kill, but he goes for the plant.
Everybody else is so tied up with gunfights everywhere. The problem is, okay, the plant goes down, Siphon will get a kill, but Aviation is alone and guarding it. So if he gets dropped and he's low on health to boot, then he's going to have a hard time. But there it is. Smurfer will find one. Iconic outside detected now. They know exactly where he is. Should be an easy pickup, and yes, it will indeed be. Smurfer will pick him up. So a great job by Habana to swoop in and get the sneak defuse planted. Fantastic job, all the rest of their team in gunfights. Ones that they ended up winning, but either way, great job getting that diffuser down. And a difficult spot to defend if you're BitterSweet, I must say. So they will get one more opportunity for match point. Otherwise, we will see our second overtime of the day. And before we go any further, now that we're so close at the end of map 1, I'm not sure if I went over the strafe votes here for this particular game. If I have and you weren't here, then you'll get to hear it for the first time. And if you were here, you'll hear it for a second time. No big deal. So Sinister Academy winning out with 73.9% to win it all. BitterSweet 21.6% to win both maps, and 4.4% voted for a tie, a map apiece. So still anybody's game at this point. the majority of the support, though, with Sinister, but BitterSweet proving that they are not to be, I guess, underestimated here in this matchup. This is, again, only the second time we've seen them. So, round number 12 coming up, match point or overtime will be decided at the end.
Absolutely will. And one thing that I want to mention as well is that the we are almost heading into overtime, and the overtime on Oregon is one that usually favors the team that gets defense. But so far in this game, we have seen attackers win most of the time. And I think, especially during that last round, one of the things that BitterSweet could have done better is they could have put more emphasis and more manpower on Meeting Hall and Attic. Because when you anchor in stage, it is really easy. You're basically a fish in a barrel. The attackers have so many windows to play, so many angles, so many grenades to just toss in, that either they get kills or they put a ton of pressure on you and force you to rotate out. So if you're playing toward Meeting Hall and Attic, then you have extra space to work with, you have extra space to rotate through, and that'll help you control the map a little bit better. But we are switching over to the basement defense once again, and Iconic still playing this tower and basically just being a nuisance. And as you can see, he's firing bullets back and forth, but then he rotates out. He figures, it's been a minute, I've bought enough time, I can rotate out and hold this long angle. And he's still playing an Attic, so he hasn't completely rotated out, but he's still bought a lot of time for his team.
Yes, he has. So, minute off the board, no damage whatsoever. Full tower control now for the attack squad. BitterSweet not doing a whole lot. Oh, they'll see one. One will get exposed. Sipping on OJ. He'll miss. He's hiding right behind the sandbags. Oh, and some bullets coming out from the other side will get him down. I'm not sure if they know he's down. Of course, there's no points or indicators in competitive mode to indicate that that is the case. So he'll actually be able to safely drop, but Rudy will somehow manage to finish him off. Oh, up from the Attic, it seems. Shots will come back up through the hatch, doing a little bit of damage, and now finally finishing Brady. I'm sorry, finishing Sipping on OJ by Brady. So 4 apiece for these two teams. 1 minute left to go.
In 1 minute. And the attackers have a decent amount of control, but Melted peeks around the corner, takes out Smurfin, and he does get refragged by Aviation, but that still wastes more and more time from the attack. And by now, Rudy gets yet another kill. It leaves us with a 2v3. They still have quite a bit of utility to push through, but Rudy just keeps getting frag after frag. Iconic rushes straight through some gunfire, takes down 1, takes down 2.
Hello?
There's a 1v1. Why are you picking him up? Iconic is pushing, and Iconic gets a 3K to clutch the round and bring map 1 in BitterSweet's favor.
Wow, sick plays at the end there. No overtime, says Iconic, as he'll drop 18 frags. A well-deserved front and center MVP pose for you, Mr. Iconic. You may have thrown 1 round, but you sure more than made up for it there. What a fantastic round. BitterSweet will win map number 1. Map number 2, remind me, Consulate, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Azaraki.
Absolutely. It is indeed Consulate that we will be heading to. And it is Sinister's map pick. So, you know, BitterSweet won their map pick. It wasn't a complete blowout or anything. It didn't go to overtime, but Sinister still did put up quite a fight. So maybe Sinister has enough strats to basically take the second map back in their favor and hopefully tie this one out.
Cams are off. Putting 3 up.
baby, right now. Pegboard nerds, monster, have you locking at the sound? All of the gal I go passing when me boy I go drop them a coming. Murdering. Me are the burning fire and natural born killer. When me bust it to them, watch out some might sting ya. So turn it, I am make the bad boy bigger. When they come around, we all go on them. Listen to the word and the way your cuts in the middle. When the flames get higher, put up your gun fingers. Return all of the fire, it's a bad man.
I think they do. At the very end, the 1v3 against Iconic, the 2 kills that Iconic got at first were crazy good kills. The third one, I want to reiterate something that I asked while the play was happening was, why are you picking him up? Because that third kill was the Capitao. I forgot who was playing, but he was reviving his teammate when they knew that Iconic was on a 1v3. He was getting the frags. He was pushing forward. You probably hear the sound cue of him sprinting, and he just commits to the revive instead. And I think that was a big mistake. But it's one of those mistakes that's, I don't want it to sound mean, but it was sort of it was sort of so obvious that I think it's something that you can shake off. You can be like, oh, that's what we did wrong. We don't need to worry about it. We can just go for it, basically. That's right. Consulate, which is a map that's been in the rotation for quite a while, and as we head into the operator bans, we can decide who is going to be basically allowed to play. I don't think, actually thinking about it, Kaid might be pretty strong for the basement, basically the garage cafeteria site, but for the other sites, not really that useful. Pretty much a similar deal as Blitz and all those. But yeah, hatches are pretty important for the cafeteria site, as well as you can use Kaid to trick Habana pellets on the main garage wall, especially when Thermite is banned.
Especially when Thermite is banned. Thermite, we've seen for the first time here getting banned. Yang, we've seen banned every single map that we have seen today. So, something that I haven't been privy to. We haven't seen Ying get banned at such a consistent rate that I've seen. But, hey, you never know. We've seen Nomad getting banned. We've seen Jackal getting banned on some of these bigger maps. We've seen, of course, Blackbeard getting banned. Remember, there's that one shield rule. On the other side, Valkyrie, an interesting ban as well. The opportunity to throw cameras out into the palm trees, which are very difficult to spot because there are so many of them, and there's so much rubble and I guess, things outside that it's very difficult to ascertain where those can be sometimes, especially when you're not planning on bringing an IQ. So here we go, round number 1. There is your lineup as BitterSweet will start on defense.
And BitterSweet's defense, it's the fact that they have a bandit probably tips Sinister off to the fact that they're going to be playing in Cafeteria Garage. You don't, and then they switch off of the bandit. But you do still have the mute, so there's some hard breach denial there even still. And so that should probably still tip Sinister off to the fact that they're playing Garage. And unfortunately, since Thermite is banned, they're going to have to work with a Hibana and a Thatcher. Now, Hibana can still be pretty useful, and we've seen her played quite a bit on the second floor site with Console's Office and Projector. Because there is a generally wall that people reinforce behind Long Desk that opens up a really good angle and allows you to cover the plant if you go for a projector plant. So definitely more Hibana popularity lately. So they won't really be hurting in that respect, even if it wasn't a downstairs bomb site.
Yeah, you know, downstairs it's extremely nice to have 2 hard breachers of some sort. That way you can get hatches and garage open. In this case, they didn't opt to do that. You know, Maverick really only having two hard breachers is only super beneficial on this one site. So it is risky, as the upstairs, the top floor site, is just as popular as the downstairs. And in North America, it's kind of a coin flip on where they're going to go. So at least if they win the attack here, they know that they're going upstairs for sure. Otherwise, we might actually see a dual hard breacher come out just so they can get some of those hatches up. Now, Iconic will open up some sight lines all the way from top floor. So kind of a reverse pulse here, where if they're playing the top floor, sometimes you'll see that pulse all the way down to the basement. He'll open some sight lines all the way down to basement from the top. He'll also open up some of those windows to peek down if anybody is hiding behind the cars, looking down at angles through garage. We'll see somebody rappel on up, and here's that angle, and what an easy shot for Iconic, as Furfur will walk right into it, or should I say rappel right into it. 3 of BitterSweet all the way upstairs, and a very early pick for BitterSweet.
A very early pick, and he's still going to be playing up here too, so he'll be wasting some extra time. Sinister are going to have to do something to flush him out a little bit. Otherwise, the default plant right behind the garage door is going to be super difficult, because you don't want to be the one challenging a dock with an ACOG up through 2 floors of broken wood. And so they really need to spend some resources to flush him out of there, or at the very least rush past the very openings of the garage door. But seeing as there's no thermite, the Hibana pellets, unless she uses all 3, then you don't get a hole that you can run through. You're going to have to crouch through it, you're going to be slower, and that just makes it more susceptible to getting killed from the top floor. Alpaca pushes down spiral stairs, gets one. He is traded out immediately by Rooted, however, as Aviation picks up another kill across the board. And now, Sinister looking pretty good with their roam clear so far. They still have 1 more left to get, and that is, of course, I don't actually see who it is, but they do still have 1 more, and that is the mute that they need to get. Melted playing upstairs, and Sinister only have 40 seconds to do it.
Absolutely. So he can come down for a really, really late rotation, and the attack seems to have stalled as they're trying to gather information. They'll see 1. I'm not sure if they know the location of the other 2, and oh, Melted just misses his opportunity to kill somebody. They're still there. They'll find 1, and that's Diffuser down, but he'll drop. Unfortunately, Rudy and Anthony both get picks. If he would have stayed up there, it would have been such a strong position. He had the Diffuser down. He could have covered it from up high, but no, Lags will be left at a 2v1. He'll find 1. Some shots through the soft wall, I believe, will do a little bit of damage. No, they'll miss, and the time will tick away. It is all up to him to plant. Lags will hold it out, and Lags easy pickup as Rudy decides to opt to try and go for the kill at that point. A great 2v1 clutch, and unfortunately for Sinister, not being able to capitalize on the mistake of the mute jumping down through the hatch, or the smoke, I can't remember who it was sitting up top. One of the SMG-11 characters dropping down through the hatch after picking the Diffuser carrier, but that'll be okay. BitterSweet will open things up with a win here on Consulate.
Yeah, already starting Consulate out in a pretty good fashion after winning Oregon outright. brings them to a... they've got pretty good momentum at this point, especially considering they won the last couple rounds against Sinister in Oregon. And now Mira is still on the board, so we are going to console meeting office, and I imagine that Iconic is going to play the Mira in one of the more standard positions, which is in the break. Never mind. No Mira. We're going to see a Legion instead. I was going to say inside the break room, watching the admin offices to basically prevent the attackers from getting that space so easily, but they're going with a Legion instead, which can still perform a similar role, because you have the goo mines that can give you information that can prevent sprinting, and the attackers just need to take some extra seconds to take it out of their legs once they push in through the admin offices. And it seems like this is an interesting start to the defense. We're actually going to open the entire wall behind long desk. Normally, at least one of those walls, the far right, is reinforced so that someone who is sitting all the way back in the coffee room can't get an angle into meeting hall. But it seems like they're going for a bit of an unorthodox defense.
Yeah, it is interesting. Usually, you might even put a rotate hole there at the very end towards yellow stairs, but nope, they're just going to open up sight lines. Nothing vaultable, just sight lines, because of course it is such a strong position in behind the turned over desk and projector. So Sledge will open things up with that sledgehammer, checking connector, seeing what's going on in here. You know, projector, not necessarily the safest place to be. As a matter of fact, 2 defenders, I believe, in B. Oh, and an easy pick for Rudy, so see the head of lags. Alpaca also playing over there, but no resistance there from the main windows. The main windows could really strip this defense apart. We'll see one work their way towards the balcony outside of projector. The others on the roof. They can take their time now. Only 45 seconds gone and already a 5-4 a man advantage. Smoking all of that nice delaying utility off the board already.
A lot of utility indeed, especially the late round utilities. So at this point, Sinister can really just hang back, and they don't really need to rush this too much, especially considering there's a Legion on the board. They can take it a bit more carefully. They can take the time to spot out some of those traps and get the extra control that they need. But this the wall behind long desk being completely open means that Sinister have a little bit of confusion in terms of how they want to go about attacking this site, and that gives Melted enough time to rotate all the way around and get some extra positions. So BitterSweet are making the best out of the fact that one of them got picked early already.
So, complete admin control for a couple of these attackers here. Rudy working his way across the first floor, getting droned. Rudy, or I'm not sure who that was. Maybe it was Rudy on the drone. Either way, one outside, throwing some air jabs around. So now they're at main window, but a bunch of whiffed shots by Rudy. Unfortunate. No damage at all as he'll shoot a perfect pattern around him. Brady, hello. Do you see the grenade indicator? An easy down. Rudy will finish the job. Oh, no, actually he won't. So it's only Castle. It's effective 1v4 right now. Alpaca is going to attempt to work his way over to help his fallen comrade, but too many shots coming from too many directions. He'll kind of go a little bit wild trying to find something. Will not find it. Sinister Academy strips that defensive hold completely apart. Fantastic job, and now we're tied up in the first 2 rounds here.
And Sinister just got a lot of extra angles to work with. And I really like the grenade to flush out the Maestro in the bathroom, where he tossed the grenade in, and if Brady were to try to rotate out, he would just get shot immediately because I think it was Sippin was playing on the window. So the only option that Brady really had there was to push forward and pre-fire the window and hope that he got the kill. But that's just an unfortunate position for him to be in, and a good game sense by Sinister to basically take advantage of that. And now we're seeing the console office defense once again, but instead of a Legion, they will be taking a Pulse. So a lot of plant denial and a lot of extra information that they get, especially if they don't flush Pulse out.
Absolutely. So here we go. Attempt number 2 upstairs. Let's see if they... Yep, indeed they are going to stay with a similar tactic of just ripping open that projector. That kind of eliminates the ability to play in projector in the later round, especially if they're not... I mean, if you're not going to have somebody in projector, that kind of leaves you the opportunity to really spread out and kind of defend admin as well as the A-bomb site, the main office. So that way you can just really force the attackers to have to work hard, get picks, deploy a lot of utility to take any foothold upstairs where the site actually is, or be forced to funnel them way through yellow stairs. You can really spread yourself out as a defense. And because that wall is open up, if somebody wants to come in on balcony and hop into projector that way, they're going to have a lot of angles that they're going to have to cover. They're going to have to cover connector. They're going to have to cover white stairs or Visa stairs. They're going to have to cover all of long desk spiral stairs, the copy room hallway. I mean, the bathroom. Everything can see into projector at that point. So you could pretty much leave projector alone. The unfortunate thing about what they did the last time is BitterSweet pretty much put too much into office, and because of that, it was an easy pick you saw from the window that Rudy is sitting at now to start things off. And then when they finally took control of the big window, there was just nothing much that BitterSweet could do, whiffed shots or not. So I'd like to see them a little bit more spread out, but they're just not. They're all on this west side in A, over by bathroom, over by yellow stairs, etc. So some shots will come through the wall, but will not connect with the operator sitting right behind watching the camera.
Yep, he's just watching a camera, and Rudy still has the drone in place. And Lag does, there he goes. He should probably see or hear it now. But the drone actually just gets out. A little bit of an extra win there for the attacker side. But they do know where he is, so they can hopefully flush him out as soon as possible. Smurfin playing with the G36C. Now, of course, in the latest patch, the R4C on Ash lost her
We
ACOG.
know.
Yeah, I think
Everybody
everyone's
knows.
caught up at this point. But,
That's the one thing you don't have to repeat, you know?
But it creates an interesting question of maybe you actually do use the G36C just so you can get the ACOG. And yeah, Iconic looks like he might be lagging out a bit there. So we'll give him a bit, see what happens. Meanwhile, the rest of Sinister trying to make use of their utility, despite the fact that Anthony has already died off the bat, and that means they don't get any of the Capitao smoke bolts.
Rip. So he will get the opening kill, though, with the C4, but he will lag out. That's unfortunate. Too deep into the round for a rehost. Rudy will find one. The diffuser will begin to go down in what I believe is projector. Rudy will find a second, just playing that window like he did last time. Melton will shoot some shots back from the shield. Not connect, though. The other castle off-site. He'll get dropped there in the connector. So now it is a 1v4 again. Melton, a lot of work to do, and only about 2/3 of a diffuser time to do it. No Sir Sippin. Will shut him down. SMG 11 and Sinister, chaining 2 together here.
Yes, Sinister on the admin projector take has been doing really well. They've gotten a bunch of different angles, and like Ty mentioned earlier, when they notice that the defenders have put too many resources in one location, they start to rotate around. Their in-game leader makes the call to set up in a different sort of spot and take advantage of the fact that BitterSweet's doing that, and they cut off the rotations, and they manage to get everything the way they wanted.
Clutch.
And awesome, yeah, Iconic just barely gets back in time, so we will not have to rehost. He can just pick his operator and be well on his way. So really fortunate for that one. Nobody likes a rehost.
No, nobody likes a rehost. It's just straight boringness, right? But we don't have to even say the nasty R word because we're going straight into round 4. Sinister winning 2. An unfortunate disconnect by Iconic. Could have been a difference maker with all that intel he could feed up to him. Now, I explained it before about when they open up projector like that, a viable way to defend upstairs. The problem is you cannot let them get an easy foothold in admin. With that presence not needed in projector, that's your opportunity to spread out. And the thing is you can kind of play long desk area, and if you have multiple people kind of long desk area, maybe have one over by bathroom, maybe one in A. Now, if you have intel fed to you from the admin side that they're over there, now you have the ability to rotate over, right? Now you have the ability to force them to have to fight it out in order to take admin. That just hasn't been the case here by BitterSweet. So it's been very easily overcome twice in a row by Sinister. The first time they overcame it easily, and BitterSweet didn't change anything, so not a surprise to see Sinister win that second one easily as well. So they will change sites. They will decide to go to main lobby piano and try their luck on a new site.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of what you need at this point. It's just a little bit of a change of pace. Clearly, the upstairs site was not working super well, and Piano Room also allows them to make even more use of their rotation game, because you can, even though there were roamers playing in basement even during the admin hold, it's arguably more useful over here. And speaking of, Melted gets the first C4 up through the floor. That's exactly the kind of thing you can do when you have 3 clear floors that you can play with, all connected to the bomb sites.
So back-to-back opening C4 kills. Hopefully the C4-er won't crash. That is kind of a known bug, that after a C4 is tossed out and blown, that people have been kind of crashing out. I think that's what we saw with Iconic in the last one. Rudy will refrag, though, onto Iconic, so he will be removed from play this round, round number 4. And it looks like Sinister expected them to go to basement, as did probably I would have. Alpaca would get one onto Anthony. So you see the double breach that we talked about earlier. When you know it's going to be basement, you want to bring that double breach so you can open hatches and garages. Lags with the shotgun will find one up close. Aviation goes down. So no more hard breach, or actually, yes, the Maverick's still available, but it's very difficult to get a wide enough, vaultable hole. Oh, just the head will be spotted out here. Some shots will go through, but he will not connect. But Sipit will find one onto Pulse, but Alpaca will turn the corner, firing and refrag right away. So now only the Maverick left against 3 defenders. He'll go upstairs to try and pick up the diffuser. A minute left to work with, so he'll take his time, but a very, very difficult challenge ahead.
Yeah, this is also one of the harder sites to 1v3. Not that 1v3ing is easy in the first place, but there are just so many different angles that the defenders can sit in and have crossfires in that it's just so difficult if you're in this position by Rudy, and on top of that, he's breathing in some of that toxic gas, unfortunately.
Yep.
Now Rudy needs to figure something out in the next 40 seconds. That's not a lot of time to work with either. And the worst part is, as soon as he gets 1 kill, everyone is going to know where he is. But it seems like Alpaca already might, as he pre-fires right through the door. And now, Rudy has to wonder whether or not they fully know where he is. He gets pinged out, so they definitely know. And as he tries to rotate in, Lags just takes him out. Easy peasy. 1v3 is not going to happen this time, as Lags finishes it off, and BitterSweet tie it up 2-2.
1v3 situations are no fun unless you're Iconic and you're on match point, apparently. For those of you just joining us, Iconic clutched out a beautiful 3v1. If they won that round, it was over. If they lost that round, it was going into overtime. So that's how BitterSweet ended map number 1. But here we are, map number 2, tied up 2 apiece. Will BitterSweet take the tie for Sinister Academy, or will BitterSweet be able to win all 3 points? That remains to be seen. Still a lot of Siege left to be played here, as they will return finally to the defensive site that they won 100% of the time, right? They played upstairs twice, won 1, lost 1. They played the lobby and lost 1 there as well. No, they won 1 there. So they won basement. They lost both upstairs. My apologies. They lost both upstairs. So they have a 100% win rate in lobby and downstairs. They'll go back downstairs because they can't go back to lobby. So here we go, round number 5 coming up.
I'm waiting to see if either of these teams is going to go for the Visa, which is the newest site to Consulate. One that, at first, the announcement of a 4th site was very exciting, but a lot of people don't really like the fact that it is a split site. However, I do think it is probably the most defendable split site in the game, and by split site, of course, I mean one of the sites is on one floor, and one of the sites is on a different floor. And so I think it's one of the more defendable examples of that we have in the game. But a lot of teams don't really want to risk their luck, especially since the Visa is very easy to take, even though server might not be. It just splits the defense up so much. There's only one real close way that
what
the
are the
defense
other
can
split
rotate up.
sites? House, Old Hereford base. What am I missing?
The
Favela.
rear stage, and
rear stage. That's right. That's a little bit
and tower.
different. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's
Let's not ever mention
probably the
tower
most
again.
connected. Yeah, it's probably the most connected split site, and it's also the other option that you have for a third site is not very good either. So some teams have gone there, but it's definitely not a very viable one.
Right.
But turning our eyes to the current round at hand, we see a good amount of drone play coming from Sinister, which is exactly the kind of thing that we want to see and make sure that they can flush out all of the rumors first, especially Alpaca. We saw this position up here in the console's office be very strong during the first basement site, and there's even a bulletproof camera up here to help him out too. So very strong defensive setup here, and I honestly think, oh, here comes a run out, but Sippin is ready for it. He just takes Iconic down immediately, and that is the big fragger down for the side of BitterSweet.
Yeah, Sippin on OJ, he'll lose most of his health, but he will not lose his life. Great shot. He was actually hopping off of a drone at that point in time. Alpaca will get one Smurfing, refrag it right back out onto Alpaca with that Ash. The Melted will go away, and Rudy, without enough reaction time, Rudy will knife him. Melted just got a little bit confused, bumping into face-to-face with that attacker. That was a little bit of an interesting moment, to say the least. Lags will find one, 2 to 3 now. 2 to 4, man advantage lost, an unfortunate throwaway, but a lot of the attackers have a lot of health. They'll start tearing open the floor, see if they can find any picks down through said floor. And they'll slow down a little bit as they've got 50 seconds here to work with. Brady will find one. Ash will go down at the top of yellow stairs. He'll rotate back down to sight and will even those numbers out. Brady will take some damage from Hatch, but they will not finish him off. Aviation will throw some more shots down too. And I believe, is he dropped? No, he's either dropped or on 1 health. He just dropped. Rudy will finish it up. Lags will refrag though. It's a 1v1. Rudy with the refrag right on time. And Sinister will win one back. So we're seeing a lot of back and forth right now happening here on console.
And one thing that I actually noticed during one of the other rounds is that you can tell if someone has 1 health or if they're downed, because at the top, if someone is downed, their health bar is a little bit thicker in terms of height. And hopefully at some point we get a little bit more of an obvious UI thing for that sort of situation, but for now it'll have to do. That's a good way to check it out in the moment. But yeah, overall, Sinister did a pretty good job with their own clear. They got a couple of refrags, even though they dropped 2 kills early. And most of that just came down to their site take at the end. They got the proper frags, they got the headshots, they got basically what they needed. And I can't really say that Sinister won that last round off of pure strats. A lot of it was definitely the gun skill, which is something that you can't really rely on for every round. So I want to see them tighten up their attack a little bit and get quicker refrags.
Look at Rudy.
And instead of trading 2 for 1 at the beginning, they for 1 for 1s.
5 rounds deep, Rudy sitting 11 kills, just going off. Where has Rudy been, or where was Rudy specifically last map with that Nomad, just doing tons and tons of work. This will be BitterSweet's last defense before the role swap. Haven't found too much success. Meanwhile, the last time that we saw this site, we watched Reciprocity face off against OC, and OC's first match since qualifying in that add-in qualifier, and we saw all defensive wins except for 1. Reciprocity, Skies, a 1v3 clutch at the very end of the round was the only attack win we saw here on Consulate that entire game. On the other hand, this one we're seeing more attacker wins so far by a margin of 3-2. Still not a large enough sample size, but definitely a big difference compared to the last time we saw 2 of these North American teams play it out here on Consulate. So 30 seconds down, some droning. They're going back upstairs now. They didn't open up the entirety of the projector wall. Capital, though, without any resistance whatsoever, will walk right into admin. Now, instead of the defense being mostly on the east side, mostly on the west side, over in office and bathroom and hall, or the top of yellow stairs, etc., we'll see half of the team there and the other half off-site, perhaps downstairs.
Yeah, and this is sort of the way that the meta evolves, is that even though we're playing in the Garage Cafeteria site, so much defensive and attacking resources are used in the second floor, because Consulate is a map that's really roamer friendly in terms of staircases. So the way you want to go about it is you basically want to clear top down. no matter what site it is, you want to start at the top floor, work your way down, and make sure that nobody has a chance to go up any staircases and flank you around with the roamers, especially considering the amount of runouts there are. If you do decide to go for a straight garage take, someone can easily jump out of these CEO office windows and take you down. Now, Iconic getting into quite a gunfight here as he is up against someone who's lying down, but ooh, Anthony tries to rotate out, ends up dying in the meantime. Melted gets another headshot. Melted gets 2, Sippin goes down, Aviation gets 1 on his back as well. Aviation with a second one, headshot on a Melted. 3v2, 1 minute left on the clock, and the attackers are not in a great spot. Air jab goes down, no one's there to capitalize on it, but it does give information to the attackers as Rudy is trying to seek out whoever it was that knocked over his air jab.
Yeah, so the onslaught will slow down slightly as there's some sightlines getting opened up by the defense, but the attackers just kind of taking their time. They will rotate down Visa stairs, but there is an angle being held on that. You'll see one in that little crate closet. Rudy making his way back and forth through the hallway. Shots going back and forth. Rudy will go down, but Aviation will pick one up. He'll have the opportunity to pick his teammate up, and a peek around the corner will find him. Oh, it looks like he was able to get Rudy up, but that won't be enough. Lags with the 4K this round will win it out here for BitterSweet, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're back to a tie game.
We are indeed back to a tie game, so this series has been pretty close so far. Even though the first map did not go to overtime, it was still a 6-4, or 6-5, even. 7-5.
7-5, yes, 7-5.
So, there you go. Alright, so 7-5. And so, yeah, pretty close game overall, and closer than a lot of people expected, I imagine. And I speaking of the strafe sort of betting, not betting, but strafe predictions, I don't think enough people vote for ties. Generally, we only see like
a very
less than
small
5% go for ties, and they are actually pretty common. And so I think people need to get on that game a little bit more, and it's definitely possible that Sinister could tie this one out. We've seen some very good attacks from them. Maybe it'll just take a good defensive run, and they'll be able to take this game away with it. Of course, we are switching sides, which means Sinister are now the ones on defense, and already we see a Pulse, a really good choice for the second floor defense.
Absolutely. So, tie, roll swap, here we go. Sinister defending for the first time. They'll go up top floor. They're set up a little bit different. You'll see them reinforcing the back of projector. You'll see that they have a smoke that they're going to play. You'll also see the ADS is going onto the pillar of yellow stairs so somebody can stay up there safely and not get grenaded from the hatch, at least without wasting a ton of utility to burn that ADS out from the top there. Sipping on OJ, what? I'm not sure how he's taking damage prior to the round starting. Looking around, trying to find some drones or something. No Twitch drone in play.
Probably an impact.
Perhaps.
If I had to guess.
Perhaps. Maybe a little bullet to the foot. Who knows? But here we go. Round at number 7 coming up. BitterSweet's first attack. They'll bring a Glass on their side as well.
So Glass, I think, can be useful on multiple sites here. Generally, actually, now that I think about it, he can be useful in every site, but especially the main lobby site. Of course, that is not the one that we're playing right now, but even still, he will be able to hold down windows pretty well and take kills through some of the smallest peepholes imaginable. Especially, we see Aviation playing in the bathroom. He's got some very long angles himself. Glass can be a counter to those sorts of plays. Now, we mentioned the fact that Consulate in general is a top-down map, and even when you're playing against this the second floor defense, the most part it is still a top-down map. You don't generally clear bottom up when you're playing on attack against the top floor, so they'll just be mindful of some of these rotations, and Sippin is actually in a really good position. He might be able to toss a C4 and get a free pick over here. He's playing the patient game, waiting for someone to stand still long enough for that to be warranted, however. I don't think that wall above him is destructible. No, it is not. It is not a destructible wall, or destructible ceiling slash floor. So he will not go for that one yet, but he will probably be pinging it out for his team to know about. And there it is. The yellow pings that don't notify your enemies when they have been spotted. So hopefully the rest of his team can take advantage of that information as Smurfin goes up and gets the kill onto Brady immediately. Alpaca getting the refrag, however, through the hatch. Good rotation watch there. Now we're down to a 5v3. Attackers don't have a lot of time to work with as only 30 seconds left on the clock. Iconic goes down, Sippin' on OJ gets one. Rudy gets another. Defuser starts to go down, however. 2 members of the defense still alive. They're not really going to be able to contest this, however, and the diffuser goes down. So now we're on the attacker's advantage. Rudy gets a headshot on the lags, goes for a second. Half of his health is down, but they're continuing to challenge each other. Unfortunately for the defenders, they're both stacked up on the same position, so this can be a tough one for them to retake, even against one person. And they might not expect Alpaca to have rotated around. Shots go out toward him. They hear him. Oh, a nice shot from Alpaca. Able to take the first one down. 1v1 situation now as Rudy starts to go for the defuse. There is no angle on it, however. Doesn't look like he's going to stick. Rudy going to hunt it out. Turns the corner. Alpaca gets him. 1v2 clutch. BitterSweet take the first round of their attack.
Yeah, like you said, it's not super difficult, especially with that sight line open up to the plant through that hole. Some swift and quick thinking movements there by Alpaca at the end. And unfortunately, the last member there just decided not to attempt to stick it, although I think they might have had a chance of success, especially the first time. So he tried, he stuck it, let go, then got killed. That first time, if he would have just held on, that would have probably been his best bet. But he went for the frag and got shut down. So BitterSweet will win another one, and they will go back into the lead after being down 3-2 at the half. That's 2 in a row for attacking BitterSweet.
Yeah, so BitterSweet, it is 2 in a row. The one that they won was on attack, and now we're going to see yet another attack. And it seems like Sinister don't really want to switch up the bomb site. They still have a pretty similar roster to the one that they had last time in terms of operators. But the one of the main things that I want to see from Sinister this time is basically just a better post-plant scenario. Because in that situation, BitterSweet wasn't really... I don't know, they managed... They got 1v2'd, and in a post-plant scenario, that's not exactly what you want to have happen to you. So there are a couple of different... I think they should just sit back and hold angles. I think they got too aggressive. Both of them at the end peaked the angle. They tried to get the frag when they just needed one to start defusing and the other one to play the angle, but they both just went around trying to hunt.
So really,
and they also, Pulse was still on the board, and he never took out his heartbeat sensor either.
So Rudy holding a very dangerous angle, will not see anybody, although people were on that side. He'll decide to rotate off. It's not a great idea to hold a angle for incredibly too long, especially if you get droned. So that round will continue on. No damage being done, nobody being seen. Actually, Glaz down to half health. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. I don't think the Doc had the opportunity to shoot anybody, but we had that little a break in our feed there for just a couple of seconds. I'm not sure if that's when it happened. Either way, not a lot of damage, about half his health. No big deal. He can stay way in the back in ADS anyway. But so much map control already for BitterSweet. As full admin control, they're already hitting barbed wire going into projector. They got the Glaz there too. The Pulse is calling out that, hey, there's somebody right here. There might be more, etc., etc. And now the attackers have stalled a little bit as they will get that projector wall opened up.
And Sippin is just calling it out to his team. Meanwhile, Rudy gets a nice headshot all the way down the hallway. That's such a long shot, but he is one of the ACOG bros. Doc able to get it, and Sippin, unfortunately, just barely missing with the C4. Someone starts to look down through the hole, but just barely misses him as well. So nothing quite happening off of that quite yet. But now we're going to see BitterSweet and what they can do to try to get more control over this site. Like you mentioned, they got a lot already with admin being completely cleared out. And Aviation can just sit there and tap away, considering he's got an LMG with so many bullets before he has to reload, and he'll actually just top off right now.
So full projector control for BitterSweet. Melton will find one on the sip, and Glaz will whiff. Rudy and Smurfin, and Rudy again will get kills. 1v4, just like that. Goes from a 4v4 to a 1v4 Sledge in a world of hurt in Projector, but Rudy with a 3K in the last 4 kills will say no sir, and Sinister will bring it back once again to a tie.
Yep, this game has been back and forth all over the place, and I think
play day has been back and forth all over.
That's true. Yeah, and we didn't think that Reciprocity would have a back and forth game, but they did, and they ended up losing both of their maps as well. So perhaps this is the day of upsets. BitterSweet might be able to take the second map into their favor as well, despite what most people would have thought, especially considering how much story Sinister has in CCS, and the fact that they did in fact already take a map off of Reciprocity when they did play. Again, we do have 4-person playoffs, so either of these teams still have the very full potential to make it to playoffs, especially if BitterSweet can win this one. They would be in a very good position. Meanwhile, Sinister is sitting at 3rd place in the standings right now, and so they want to hold on to that, but they aren't necessarily fighting for their lives right now.
Not yet. Not yet. Still points to be had by both of these. BitterSweet, man, they'd be really excited to, so early on, to get an all-out win. 3 points is so important to have with, you know, as much time to play left. They don't, you know, the pressure isn't on. They will for sure be top 4 if they can manage to get a win here. But they'll have to, you know, overcome what they've been running into, and that's Sinister Academy just playing a fantastic map so far. It's been, like you said, a lot of back and forth, but Sinister seems to be a little bit more calm and collected, and they seem to be winning their gunfights right now. But that could all change at the turn of a hat, you know, turn of a dime, whatever you want to say, whatever the saying is. It's been a long night for me, Mr. Azaraki. Getting tired, winding down here just because of so many back and forths. But that's okay, because we will play on until there is a winner or a tie.
And it seems like there might end up being a tie as well, as Sinister has been looking pretty good so far. We'll see what they can do on their defense. So again, this is a cafeteria garage defense, which is one that the attackers generally take top down, but it doesn't seem like BitterSweet is really going to focus on that too much. They look more concerned with the first floor, and perhaps that's due to their droning game. Of course, with our super observer wall hacks, we can see, yeah, there's the dronings. There's the droning right now. And they actually scout out the fact that there is nobody playing second floor. So they don't, so that basically counts as their second floor clear. So they don't need to worry about it. They can start with the first floor in terms of their manpower. And that's actually a decent amount of space given to BitterSweet by Sinister off the bat.
Yes, it is. So, minute in, not a whole lot, a little bit of, I guess, some hatch opening up now. They only brought the singular hard breach, so dedicating that Hibana there is pretty much meaning that Garage will be untouched for the rest of this round. But Brady will find an easy kill by a unsuspecting bandit still playing on that garage for some reason. Meanwhile, some of the defenders pushing over towards Visa Stairs, perhaps for some sort of a flank, perhaps just to listen. Yep, here it goes. Doc running up those Visa Stairs just to wrap around, see if he can find any easy kills. A lot of BitterSweet stalling going on now towards Yellow Stairs, bathroom, and piano.
I'm not sure why Sippin was still holding the close angle near the garage. He could have rotated out as soon as he heard Brady start opening up the hatches, because he knew that Hibana wouldn't be at the garage door. And so now another kill off the board. That is lag going down. Now we're going to see some plant denial from Anthony, but he doesn't really get too good of an angle. The smoke grenades go out for the attackers as well. And so far they haven't really made a move into sight, and here we go. Immediate vault in from Brady as he goes right for the plant. He's getting shot by the Evil Eye right away. There is no Echo on the board. Echo is banned. Rudy gets a headshot. Nice shot right there off of his flank. We talked about that flank a while ago, and it's finally coming to fruition. Iconic just barely turns around in time to take him out. 3v2, as now we have 30 seconds left on the board, and the attackers still have a pretty good position, but they need to watch out for, once again, the Maestro Evil Eyes.
Yes, indeed. So here comes the plant. Mark II. Nope, it'll get picked up again. He'll find a safer spot. Anthony will find one, trying to sneak up on him through the kitchen. The plant, this will be the last opportunity to place the plant down, so they will have to continue sticking it. A peek from around the corner, but the air jab will stop him in his spot. Aviation will find 1 and 2! And that will be Aviation getting the last 2, an easy defuse. Fantastic job. The air jab kind of had a reverse effect in that it actually distracted both of the remaining players for BitterSweet, letting Aviation sneak up from the other side. Great job by Sinister. Whether or not it was planned, I'll leave that up to you folks. But Sinister now will take the lead once again.
So Sinister, once again, yeah, this is just a back-and-forth game all over the place, and both of these teams have had a lead so far in this map. As we head up to... Actually, here we go. We're going to see the Visa hold. And by Visa, I mean tellers. Similar things, same callouts, really. But this is that split site we were talking about. So for the most part, Archives and Server is rather easy to hold. If you have 1 or 2 people down there, you can generally force the attackers away from it because there are only 2 doorways that lead into the site, and those are both on the same cardinal direction. I don't know if it's like east or west or anything like that, but they're both on the same side of the site. So the main thing that you want to do for this site is you want to have more people playing first and second floor in admin than you do downstairs. You only need like 1 or maybe 2 people to hold downstairs, especially since the hatches can let you rotate pretty easily. We actually see a reinforcement on the Visa hatch that leads down into server, which is back and forth. I've seen teams do either one because you can actually have someone posted downstairs with a C4 and toss it up through there and right in front of the main doorway, and that can actually be a really strong spot. But it looks like Sinister are not opting to go for that and instead are going to reinforce it.
Yeah, a lot of castling, reinforcing going on upstairs with the Mira and copy. So they are definitely being very cautious of what goes on upstairs all the way in the top, because like you said, they can drop all day, but they can only ascend floors via the staircases inside. So Pulse will set up with a teammate down in the very bottom. It looks like 2 up on the top and 1 in the middle is how they decided to divide themselves. Now we've got actually 3 downstairs. I'm not sure if there's anybody in the middle floor, as the garage will get droned out.
With this sort of hold, you almost need 3 people downstairs because they reinforced every single drop from the first floor to the basement, and actually 1 more person goes downstairs too. That's 4 people. Now, if BitterSweet drone this out, it's a super easy Visa take. Like, they can get tellers immediately if they drone this out and if they scout out all of this resource usage. And I don't think it's necessarily the best sort of defense. I would prefer to see something different. Okay, so 2 people are droned out here, and no call is made to back off. Iconic is actually pushing forward, and I don't really see why. You have Claymores watching your back. You can easily go for a teller's take. There's only 1 person you would have to fight in that case, and they're just not going for it.
Second shot, second time's a charm with the camera. Sipper will get kill number 1 on Iconic, right on the spiral stairs there. Brady will see one, get a lot of bullets down, but not too much damage. That recoil control might be a little bit of a problem there. The Aldo will find him, but no, he'll turn the corner and get Smurfing, but not before Sippin will get lags. Brady with just a smidge of health. Here comes Anthony around the corner with the shotgun. Easy pick up there for him. He'll step back up onto the servers. Aviation with the pre-fire. The Mira will get 1. Sippin on OJ will get 1, and a very split push at the end there by BitterSweet. And that will put Sinister Academy on the match point. Oh, what a nasty kill cam.
Damn, yeah, that was pretty good. This entire round was BitterSweet just dropping the ball, honestly. You scout out the fact your drones see the fact they weren't denied. Your drones see, wow, Rudy's got 19
calm
kills.
down.
Look at that.
Rudy, calm down.
Now that is quite a carry. But yeah, so BitterSweet, they droned out the fact that there were 4 people playing downstairs. They had to have known the fact that there were reinforcements on every single hatch that led between the first floor and the basement. why not go for the teller's take? You would only have to fight one person. You would have a couple of people on flank watch watching the stairs, but it's so easy to cover the 2 staircases that the defenders could possibly rotate through. That's honestly just whoever the in-game leader was missed that call completely, and that was the reason why they lost the round. They just tried to push into a very hold-up defense by Sinister through mirror windows, through peek holes, through angles, through deployable shields, and it just didn't work, of course.
No, it did not. Unfortunately. So Sinister now on match point. We have the reverse of what we saw last time with BitterSweet being on match point 6-4. And we see Sinister. Last time Sinister was able to bring one back, but not quite both, as Iconic clutched a 1v3 to win it without having to go into overtime. Sinister looking to close it right here. They've had some success attacking up top in the past against BitterSweet. This game, in fact. And we will see for the 3rd time BitterSweet attempt to defend it. So they will... Or, I'm sorry, we'll see Sinister for the 3rd time to attempt to defend it. So they will do opposite of what BitterSweet did. Again, just reinforcing that projector wall. We'll see Rudy sitting here again. Now, some bullets will come through the window, but that will not back Rudy off. I do like seeing a little bit of presence here in admin, but it looks like Rudy is just rotating completely out. Meanwhile, we'll have Melted on the north side. We have Iconic on the south side rappelling up to projector balcony. Look at the camera and just establish a presence here for now. Put that Claymore out. Prevent any jump outs should he decide to rappel onto the window right next to that balcony, which is a common spot to kind of deter people from getting into or being too comfortable in the rotation in the connector.
Yeah, and that balcony, Capitao is the best operator to play this balcony as well, because he can deny a lot of space. He can smoke out the... He can smoke or asphyxiating bolt the rotations into projector, and that means that his team can rush in and plant in meeting hall really easily. Smurfin with a run out gets 2. One of them with a headshot, and Lags goes down as well. So already Sinister off to a great start on match point, and that is Sledge off the board too, so no frag grenades. They do still have the smokes from Capitao and Jackal, but 2 men down, that's a hard take.
Yeah, a brutal run out. I think both of them were on their cameras, just sitting on rappel right next to each other. We saw the outline right before the run out happened. So a fantastic job by the Jaeger, and absolutely will not pay for it at all. No refrag, no damage done whatsoever. And so now the defense could kind of just relax and hold angles and just make it a priority to refrag in any situation. So there's nobody in projector. I think they've established that for now. They decide not to go in. A little bit of a self-flash. There's a lot of utility coming out from the attackers. They've got a lot of time to work with. Looks like Iconic might possibly be rotating back around to join his teammates. Actually, Iconic, I'm not sure where. We'll find one. Sippin will go down. That's the pulse. Oh, so it'll be all the way at the bottom. I'm not sure if he caught Sippin trying to rotate back up to the top. It looks like he did. And a risky crossbow smoke will result in half his health gone, but he will survive. Get that off. The toxic smoke number 1 comes out to deter it. He will start rappelling down again. Iconic, a little lost for things to do, just kind of isolated. Rudy will get the kill onto Melted. Brady will push up and take hold in projector. They'll see one, some shots will go out. Rudy will get another. And Iconic, he'll find his second of the round. A 1v3. He's got a mountain to climb if he wants to stay in this. He'll see one in connector. Shots will go back and forth. He'll get hurt all the way down to about 5 health. And now they know where he is as the rest of the defenders converge on his location. They'll play it safe. No need to take any unnecessary risks. And from the Evil Eye, Aviation will close it up. Sinister Academy will bring map number 2 back. And this, ladies and gentlemen, will result in a tie. So for the 4.4% of you that voted for a tie this time around, congratulations. You deserve those, what is it, 300 strafe points, 400 strafe? How do you get for winning? 300, right? So
I don't actually know.
You very much deserve your it's 300.